The views and opinions expressed by the following program are those of the host, guests, and callers and are not necessarily those of this station or Webster Rock Hill Ministries, its management, or other hosts or underwriting sponsors. Programs presented by KWRH-LP are for educational and entertainment purposes only.
Welcome back to In Tune. This is Arnold Stricker with Mark Langston. On the line, we have Brett Morehouse, who is the president and CEO of Ranken Jordan Pediatric Bridge Hospital. Brett, welcome to In Tune.
Good morning, Arnold and Mark. How are you all today?
Great. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Good.
Thank you for inviting me to be on your show today.
Haven't talked to you for a while. We served on a committee in the Webster Grove School District for a while, and Brett, you've got some wonderful things going on at Ranken Jordan. As I was doing the research of this, the main reasons I wanted to have you on was to really describe to the listeners the importance of what is right here in our community, the importance of your hospital and what it does for kids. Can you give us a little brief history of the hospital?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I think Ranken Jordan is a place that gives kids in St. Louis and the region the best chance for recovery from serious illness or injury. And we were founded back in 1941 by Mary Ranken Jordan, and she was quite visionary back then. She believed that all children, regardless of illness, should enjoy being a kid, and play is part of recovery. She had no children of her own, she and her husband Clay, but she wanted to do something for those with medical needs. And with a business-like approach, she married when she was coming up in high school, took the math courses and the science courses, and so she really operated. She's quite shrewd as a business person, and she established a place called Ranken Jordan Home for Convalescent Crippled Children over on Ladue Road, and it was for kids to convalesce from osteomyelitis, TB. Back then, it was in the countryside off of Lindbergh. That was far west back then. And so she created this home and really gave us our philosophy. One of the things we found in the letters that she used to write was that you need to consider the children first in all you do. So we still maintain that as when we reach a tough decision about the care of the child, you just do what's best for the child, and everything takes care of itself. But she was a very active in the community. She was committed to St. Louis and the region. She not only funded Ranken Jordan's construction in 1941, but she established the Beauvais Manor, which was back then called Memorial Home, and gave her some funds, shared some of her philanthropy funds with Botanical Gardens and Historical Society. But we think Ranken Jordan was her biggest achievement in back in 1941 is trying to find a place for kids who just needed a little bit more time to recover before they went home.
And what was really surprising to me, Brett, was that she was 72 years old when she did that.
Wow.
Yeah.
It wasn't like she was 35 or 40 and like, okay, this is what I'm going to devote myself to.
Oh my.
She was 72, so she had lived a really full life. And what, she died at 95, was it? Yes.
Yes.
93. And but I can't believe doing all of that at 72 years old.
Unbelievable. It's remarkable.
And coming to the hospital every day and knowing the kids' names and having tea with them and making sure that the kids were getting out of their rooms to be outside and enjoy the landscape and the flowers, and she was a regular there. And you're right, it's inspiring for me. I'm in my 50s, thinking, okay, I have to live up. I've got still a long way to go, and I need to be fit in my 70s to do what she did. But it was remarkable.
Well, and for all those people who think, I've retired or I'm too old, this lady starts this thing at 72. It's like, think again, folks, on that. Yeah. When I think about Ranken Jordan, I think of it like if I explain it to somebody, and you correct me if I'm wrong, it's kind of like a step down or step-down hospital, or like if you're an adult, you go from the hospital to an adult rehab, and then you go home. But for children, there really isn't anything like that, and that's what the niche that you fill, correct?
That's exactly right. There has been a new population that's been created by triumphs in the ICU, and so more kids and adults, because of better medical technology, are surviving, whereas they used to not live, and now because of better medications and the fact that we have helicopters that can go rescue injured adults and kids from the field and bring them back to the acute care hospital, their lives are being saved. And so this is a population that didn't used to exist. Well, now that's why we put together what we call a bridge hospital. So we're a bridge between the acute care hospital, which for people in our community would recognize St. Louis Children's Hospital or Cardinal Glennon Hospital or Mercy Children's. We're a bridge to really help those hospitals save the kids' lives, and our job is to give the kids their lives back. So we like to say we finish the job, we complement what those pediatric hospitals do, and our specific focus is on kids with complex medical conditions. So think about not only do they have a serious medical issue, and really they've been through the worst possible thing that could happen in their lifetime, they also have social challenges. And so 85% of our kids are insured by Medicaid, which is for people with lower income, fewer resources. And so we really have to be strong, not only on the medical side, but we offer social services, we provide education and training. We have a number of staff resources here for the parents, the siblings, and the patient so that they can take their loved one home.
And that's one of the things, as I was going through your website and seeing and reading the care for the entire family, because there's trauma and injury that happens to a family emotionally and spiritually, and not necessarily physically, but there's physical conditions that need to change at home. There's mental kinds of issues of thinking, and I know that you provide all support in those areas, emotional and financial and social, as well as helping them be a part of the healing process. But what do you do specifically to help train moms and dads and siblings in the care of that transition to home?
So we spend a lot of time making sure that the family, the caregivers, the parents are properly trained in the medications that the child's going to be going home on. Sometimes we have a pharmacist that spends 6 to 8 hours training the family, and if you or I go to the acute care hospital, we don't get that. Our answer for pharmacy is we have to go to Walgreens and ask our questions there. But
Right.
Here we provide that at no additional cost for the families. One time a parent told me that by the time it was time to go home, she felt like she had earned her mini nursing degree because we had to spend so much time training the parent on how to properly give care at home. And so we look at all the barriers to a child going home. And so like you mentioned, there's some physical adaptations to the home. Sometimes it's just a matter of building confidence for the parents to say, you can do this. We really focus on not what you can't do, but we focus on what you can do. And so we have community integration trips where we show the parents, and the parents can be comfortable in knowing that, yes, when you get home, you can go to Busch Stadium and go to the ballpark, or you can go to the zoo, or you can take your child to the mall. And so we really spend a lot of time showing them what's possible, and so it's a lot on the parents. And so one of the things that we just started recently is, like you mentioned, serving the siblings. And so we have a separate sibling program, and one of the things that we do is once a month we are hosting a dinner in as much of a home-like setting, tables and chairs in a kitchen, where the parents, caregivers, siblings, and the patients are all sharing a meal together, just like they would at home. And so we're trying to return the family back to normalcy within our setting as much as possible. And so we've tried to make our facility not feel like a normal hospital, but make it feel more home-like. and so that they can start to really start thinking that okay, this is where we're headed, but we need to bond while we're here because they're away from home for so long. In some cases, the family may have been in ICU at Children's for a year, and so we're trying to help them bond again here, and so that's where our siblings program comes in to provide programming specifically for those kids, because what's happened to their sibling affects them as well.
And just so folks understand, we're talking about kids with severe brain injuries, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, spinal cord injuries, spina bifida, a lot of things conditions that require a huge amount of medical attention. And to get families involved in the care, because it's the long-term plan. It's just not, okay, now we're out of the hospital and everything's back to normal. These things many times are going to be their life-changing experiences, and the families have to adjust for a lifetime.
Yeah, and I think by the time the kids and families get to us, their questions about quality of life and their interventions have only just begun. So it is, like you said, it's they don't come here and get cured, but what we do is we work with them and make them more independent. We make them more successful and show them that all is not lost and that they can be successful. We have a patient with us now who has been hospitalized on and off for the last 4 or 5 years, and she just earned her academic recognition from her high school here in St. Louis, and they provided tutors and came to tutor with her 5 hours a week. But this young lady has earned, she's taken 4 classes at a local high school from her hospital bed here, and she's earned academic, honors recognition for the spring semester. And so, again, we really focus on what can the kids do, and some of these kids amaze me, because what this patient is having to use is her brain and some her visual memory, and she doesn't have the ability to use a highlighter or take notes like I did when I was in high school. And so she's scoring better than I am, getting grades better than I did, and she's got far more challenges than I did. So it's really uplifting to see this happening.
You're listening to In Tune with Arnold Stricker and Mark Langston. We're talking to Brett Morehouse, who's president and CEO of Ranken Jordan Pediatric Bridge Hospital. So, Brett, how does someone who has a child in a condition that would be served by Ranken Jordan, what do they do? Do the other hospitals in the area who have children have a social work connection with your hospital, or do they just kind of reach out to you on their own, or what's the process for that?
Well, there are two main processes. We have an inpatient program, but we have an outpatient therapy program. So outpatient includes physical therapy, speech therapy, and occupational therapy. And those services, the parent or the caregiver can, with a referral from a pediatrician or specialty physician, can call us. The parent can call us directly and schedule an appointment with an order with a therapist. So those are done that way. From an inpatient perspective, our referrals do come from the hospital. So the social workers, the nurses, the physicians, the case managers at St. Louis Children's and Cardinal Glen, and even across the region. We've gotten a couple of patients recently from Vanderbilt and Nashville. So the word is spreading that this service is available, and they will recommend to the family, while the family is with them at their hospital, that Ranken Jordan is the right place for them to transfer to. And then the family, we invite the family to come out and take a tour before the patient transfers. The young kid makes the trek out here, and we get to show the family all the benefits of coming here, and then that transfer is made. And we work really hand in glove with St. Louis Children's and Cardinal Glen, and so we're really an extension of them, and so they will take the lead on referring those patients to us.
If you could peel apart a little bit about the individual care plan, one of the things I thought was great was how you utilize play and the interaction and getting kids out of a bed. And most of their therapy, they don't really view it as therapy because it's in a very fun environment, whether it's in the pool or, I want to say the putting green or things like that you utilize. Explain that a little bit more.
Yeah, so one of the ways that we transition kids from hospital to home is our care beyond the bedside philosophy. So that philosophy says that therapy can occur throughout the building. In the traditional hospital, typically the care comes to the bedside, and the only time you leave the patient room is when you go for an x-ray or when you go for a test somewhere else in the hospital, and you immediately come back to your room. Well, here we're just the opposite. The kids spend 2/3 of their waking hours outside of their patient room. And back living out Mary's vision from 1941, play is part of the recovery. And so we have a number of child life specialists and recreation therapists who help produce a schedule for the kids. And I mean, it goes from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. every day. And so there are things to do. There's cooking in the kitchen. There is we have a reading nook where they can read books. We have a golf program. So we have a PGA golf professional that comes to Ranken Jordan every Wednesday. His name is Kevin Korn, and he teaches kids the game of golf. And part of the kids' therapy is the movement and the things that they do with the club. And so the kids are doing therapy, but they don't even recognize it. We have an outdoor ball field that was funded by Mike Matheny and his Catch-22 Foundation. And so one of the things that Mike talked about as a kid learning to play the game of baseball, that wiffle ball was a foundation. So our kids have a fall baseball league every Saturday from August to the middle of October. We have a league, and the Lions play the Bears, and it's a baseball game. And so again, the kids are outside, they're moving. And I think modern medicine is catching on to the notion that all the medicines that we're giving patients in the intensive care unit, there is a downside to that. And so there's this research going on looking at how do we limit those medications in the ICU so that the patients aren't in such a fog. But we know that their prolonged hospital stays are causing anxiety and depression, and so Ranken Jordan is the medicine for that. So when they come here, we have our facility is kid focused. It has bright colors, natural lighting. We have wide corridors, so when the kids want to race wheelchairs, they have plenty of room to do that. And it's really we have little bonus pieces in the building that we have a bridge where it might incentivize a kid to say, hey, I want to go climb the stairs and go look at that bridge. And so we have a number of things here in the building that incentivize them. We have a climbing wall, believe it or not. We have to be the only hospital in the country with a climbing wall.
That's great.
So it movement and play is just as important part of the recovery as the medicines or the therapy or the nursing care that they're getting. So that is our care beyond the bedside philosophy. It's not uncommon for you to see instead of a physician going bed to bed, I've seen physicians out in the music room looking for a patient and assessing them right in the middle of the music room so that the patient can continue enjoying the music therapy, and then the physician goes on to find the next patient. So it's a model that is really opposite of what's typical in healthcare today.
Now, you just recently had an expansion, so you're now 60 beds, 78,000 square feet out on
Yes.
Dorset Road in Maryland Heights.
Yes. We moved into this from Ladue Road to this facility in 2004 and with 34 beds, and very quickly we started bumping up against capacity issues, and so we were able in February of 18 to expand to 60 beds. And I'm happy to say that we have our record is we've had 48 kids here in the month of October, and so our average has been running around 43. And so our goal was to continue to meet Mary's mission, and that is, to serve more and more children who need our services. And so we are accepting kids from not just St. Louis, but Springfield, Missouri, Memphis, Tennessee, Nashville, Champaign-Urbana, Illinois, Evansville. It's really become a regional provider for kids, and this is the pediatric population in general in St. Louis region is pretty flat. But when you look at kids with complex medical conditions, last time we checked, we estimate that their hospitalizations are growing anywhere between 8 to 10% a year, and so this population is increasing. And so we are fortunate that we can have the bed space now to be able to accommodate those needs. And the only thing holding us back really from caring for more inpatients is staffing. And so we are in hiring mode. So if anyone out there is interested in a career change in nursing or respiratory therapy, we are accepting applications, and we're hiring and looking for the right people to help us be able to take on and treat more kids.
And I want to kind of wrap our conversation up. We've got about 5 minutes, but
sure.
How people can help. I know you have a lot of volunteers, so volunteering is one, and I want you to speak to that. But also, you are a not-for-profit hospital, correct?
We are, yes.
And so it's not like folks, the money's rolling in. And I know you have some activities and things. Speak about those things also, Brett.
Sure. Right. So we are, Ranken Jordan was established as a not-for-profit in 1941. We do accept insurance. Most of our kids are covered by Medicaid, and but many times the reimbursement from insurance doesn't cover all the things that we offer a family and a child on their way home to recovery. So we do fundraise. Anyone can give to the hospital. We encourage people to give, no matter what the amount, to help more kids, have a better chance at recovery. So the easiest way to do that is through our website. It's rankenjordan.org, and it's RANKENJORDAN.org. We are not part of the technical school, although Mary Ranken Jordan's cousin David did found the technical school. There's a family connection, but we are independent. You can also, follow us on Facebook and Twitter. We have a number of special events. So our gala is March the 28th, and that's another opportunity for people to participate and support the hospital. And then our golf tournament is in late August next year, and so we have those kinds of activities. And then if you want to volunteer, all of our we have a number of great opportunities, whether you like to interact with the children. There's a long line for people who want to hold and rock babies. That's one of the favorite volunteer activities. We have 2 nurseries where we take kids as early as 2 weeks old, and we serve all the way up to age 21.
Wow.
But there's a number of volunteer opportunities, in the business office, and mentoring some of the kids, coaching, working with them in activities and play. And so we have a strong volunteer force of about 250, and those opportunities are on our website as well. So those are just some of the things that we can, where the community can get involved. And we do entertain some volunteer groups. If there's a business out there that wants to, we had a group in this week to paint the windows for holiday theme, and so we offer a number of opportunities for people to get involved.
Well, that's great, because there's therapy opportunities, administration, facilities, being a concierge, some clinical services, pediatric health-related services. Obviously, how I knew this, I'm reading right from the website.
Right.
I have it right at the tip of my fingers here. And there's some closing remarks, Brett, that you'd like to leave with people about Ranken Jordan.
So I think our transitional care model, Ranken Jordan has an important role to play. Again, as I mentioned, more kids are living and surviving. And I think we are necessary to help bridge parents and families back to the home, and that's our goal, is to get them home. The alternative is that they live in the acute care hospital, and sometimes that involves staring at four walls and a ceiling. And at Ranken Jordan, you don't get to stare at four walls and a ceiling. You're out being a kid again. We also dress the kids in their regular clothes. There are no hospital gowns here,
Cool.
So the kids get to wear the shirts and jeans that they would wear at home and the clothes. And so I would say we are a gem in St. Louis, and that, it's definitely worth a tour, and I would love anyone who wants to hear and learn more about us. We would arrange a tour here as well if they call 872-6400, and you can ask for me, and I would be glad for you to see it firsthand.
Brett Morehouse, President and CEO of Ranken Jordan Pediatric Bridge Hospital. Brett, thanks for joining us today on Intune. You guys are truly a gem in our community, and your work is outstanding for families in our area. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Arnold and Mark. I appreciate it.
Have a great day.
This is Arnold Stricker with Mark Langston of Intune. You're listening to KWRH 92.9 FM, your community radio station in Webster Groves, Missouri.